to Family Chats. I'm your host, Jeanette, and I am joined by Maureen.
Hey.
Amanda.
Hello.
And our very special guest star, Kim Jackson Davis, who plays Tanya Peterson on Cruel Summer.
Yes. Lucky me.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So how did you hear about this role, and what about it drew you to want to audition for it or get involved?
I had actually auditioned for the pilot. So I'm an actor, weirdly enough, in the Southeast. So I don't live in LA, I don't live in New York. I live in little old Austin, Texas. And my husband's an actor, my daughter's an actor, and we all work from here. And so when projects come to Atlanta, New Orleans, Mississippi, Austin, we are considered, regional hires. So we can kind of work from this region. So the role came through, sorry about my computer.
That's okay.
The role came through first for Marsha Bailey. I don't know if anyone remembers in the pilot, but I read for just to be the TV host. And I didn't get it. And I was like, dang it, because I had heard that my best friend from Los Angeles, Nicole Bilderback, was attached to the series. And I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. I hadn't seen her in 20 years, but I didn't get it, moved on. So months later, it was December of 2020, another role came through for Cruel Summer. And it's one of these things as an actor, we try really, really hard for an audition. I just do my job. I just go out there, I throw my work out there, I show my work. It's an opportunity for me to work, even though it's an audition. And then I try to forget about it. So even when I did the role, I liked it, but I didn't think too much about it. I just did my thing with it as best as I felt like what they were, wanting for this, and didn't think about it. When I got the call that I was on avail for it or on hold, or they were checking my schedule, I was in shock and awe. I was like, what? Oh my God. And so it wasn't really until I got the full script that I understood what was happening. So I didn't know that there was so much meat to this role at all. Until I got the full episode and read everything. And then I had only auditioned for 3 scenes. There were 6 scenes. I was like, I just hit the jackpot, because she really is. I love Tanya a lot, and I relate to her. I understand what's going on. I grew up in a small Texas town myself. So I know this girl well, and I don't have anything negative to say about her at all.
Really?
Girls got
all right.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was kind of how it all came down. And, I was sad that I didn't get that first audition, but the story is, no's are sometimes something coming along a little bit better. So that's how I feel about getting the role of Tanya.
So what is it you love about Tanya?
Oh, I love Tanya. I love women that, people want to hate on. They do, but until, and being an actor, I kind of grew, I would say those of us who, I guess, do it the way I do it, I have such empathy for situations I would have never had before. I think a lot of people want to judge situations they don't know anything about, but I always say this: until you are in those circumstances, you think you know what you're going to do, but you don't know until you're really faced with some things in life, what you really would do behind closed doors with nobody watching. And I like to try to get inside of that. And I did with Tanya. And so what I like is that, she's a fighter. She's just trying to survive and doesn't have everything that maybe other people have to make it. And she wants a great life for her and her daughter. And so she did some things that people may think aren't right, but in hindsight, always 2020, but I did in that moment what I had to do. Yeah. And so I think I like that. And just that, I think the sexuality part to her as well, the flirtiness and hitting on the younger man. Go get it, girl. That's how I feel.
There you go.
I'm all for women in their 40s and 50s still being very, forthcoming with what they want. So anyway, all those things about her were enticing for me.
One of the first comments I made in your first episode on our podcast was, holy cow, did she ever go high up that inseam?
It was fun. With Blake, he was like, "No, you don't be shy. It'll be fun." He was like, "I'm going to do a thing too." I'm like, "Great." I can't say enough about Blake Lee. If I could just talk about him
Absolutely.
I could talk about him for 45 minutes. I could talk about him for a day because when I arrived on set, I'm not a series regular. I'm just a guest for, I was there for 3 days and walked away. But I arrived on set. He was my scene partner for that day. And I'm so fine. I mean, he wanted to meet me, but he went over and beyond. He came in, he took me around and introduced me to everyone. He wanted everyone to make sure they knew me. He wanted to answer any questions for me. He sat with me because he knew I didn't know anyone. And I have since been him, just telling him, he's a stud and deserves all the success because there's nothing better than that camaraderie and the welcomeness, that you get when you're really not in the family per se. And so he's a doll. He is not like Martin Harris at all.
Good to know. Yeah.
We're all crushing on him a bit.
Oh, it's easy to crush on, my goodness. And really in real life, he's really just a dear hearted man. Yeah. So I could go on and on about him.
Yeah. Oh, we love him. We, in our last podcast where we recapped episode 9, I mean, we all talked about, he just the way he could change in his character and the emotions, the way that played out was just phenomenal. So, we love him.
Yeah. He's a true talent. My goodness.
Absolutely.
I'm just really glad. I think he is too, he even said, if you go to his Instagram, and he made a post about, it was all black and white pictures of him and Olivia, just talking about the creative collaboration that they did for that last episode. And I really do think they hit it out of the park. It's a very difficult subject, and to try to get the story where you really try to understand the confusion of Olivia's character when you're in that situation. And also you have to understand his confusion. I don't think he ever, as Martin Harris went out going, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to this girl. That's just not how it went down. They got in a slippery slope, and it took him to a deep, dark place. And Blake Lee did a great job at allowing that to happen. So kudos to him. Yeah.
And that's something that we struggle with too. Because this show is, what I appreciate about this show in particular is, one, they have that warning before every episode. But they ensure that every step of the way, when there's something like grooming or the predatory nature that he has out there, they're making sure there's some sort of narration that's saying this is not okay. But in our podcast, when we talk about how great Blake Lee is, people get confused and like, I can't believe you guys don't think he's not a predator. No. Martin Harris is not a good guy, but Blake Lee is awesome.
Blake Lee's awesome. He's a great artist. He's a great actor. And I think he's doing a great job, because if you start to there's nothing better about, I don't want to call it, I guess he's the villain or, whatever, the bad guy. It's hard you don't want him to be bad. You don't want it to be that way but that's something really special about Blake, that he has a quality within him that you don't want to see the bad in him. You want the guy, you're pulling for the bad guy to not make the bad choices, So that's why I think he's done a really, really good job. And I think that allows the viewer to get inside of the mind of an Olivia, a young girl. How very confusing that can be. To be a young girl and to have this older man, the principal of your school, look at you a certain way a little too long. Maybe it is a little flirty. And then your boyfriend's throwing up on your birthday, that episode, you're like, God, he's like a knight in shining armor. And it's wrong. And it gets very confusing. And it's bottom line, of course, that principal stepped way over, and he played with fire and deserves what he's going to get. And we're not sure what that is.
Are you going to tell us what that is? Just checking.
I don't really know either, to say the truth. I have some ideas, but no, I don't know.
We want to hear about those later on too.
Definitely.
Now, speaking of getting into your character, there was a scene, I don't remember which episode it was. I think it was the first one we see you in, when you go up to Tennille's room. And I asked Shelby about this too, but you're telling her that she needs to clean up her room, and you're saying all the stuff to her. And you said something along the lines of, somebody's here for you. And she said, oh, is it my social worker? And you got very, very serious. You said, don't ever say something like that again. Do you have any backstory to that and what that comment is from? Or is it just the situation we hear about when you're telling Martin Harris?
No, I was not given any. And so just so you know how I work as an actor, who knows what they had intentions of what that's about. But as part of my work is I do flesh all that out, and I could be really wrong. I could be wrong, but it really helps me understand what it is I'm saying and the story that I'm telling. But I think Tennille and I have not always had the easiest relationship. And I think, it's hard with me being a single mother, and I'm sure it's hard for her to see me dating men over and over. And I think that there's a little bit of competition between the two of us that's probably not healthy. And it comes from me as a mom. I wouldn't say from the outsider looking in, I'm the ideal situation as a mom. So I think that there have been some really tough arguments that maybe turned into something physical at times. And I think that she maybe has called somebody on me before. So that is the work I did. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that, I always try to make sure I don't romanticize anything when I'm working on a piece, and that there's real issues and real problems. And that gives me, I feel like, a level of dimension and complexity. So I'm not just shallow Hal, just playing this character. I'm a woman with a life with flaws and situations that I feel like a lot of people deal with. And so my favorite quote ever is from Julianne Moore. She reminded me as an artist that she said, people don't come to the theater to see me. They come to the theater to see themselves. And so, and we go because I think, the lady I work for, Carol Hickey, she said, TV, film, theater is the most healing and unifying art form that there is, because we feel like we're not alone, and we're seeing people in their most vulnerable moments. And we all know that we all have been there at one point, depending on what you're watching. And I don't know, I just thought, with Tanya and Tennille, I think there are kids out there that struggle, that are in bad, not perfect relationships with parents. And definitely think that was one of them. Mm-hmm. One at that moment. And I think we have one of those relationships that struggle. We need help. We need probably a little therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts like when you first got the script for Cruel Summer? What did you think about it?
The first time I read it, I was I get so excited when there are projects here in Texas. Doing backflips. Our tax incentives aren't great, so we're working on it. We're not in Atlanta, and we're not, even Oklahoma. But so Texas, we always get excited. So I was excited about that, and I thought it sounded really interesting. And I love everything that Jessica Biel has done, and she has done really interesting projects. So all of that, I was just really very excited about, inquisitive. I definitely wanted to know more. And the stories was so weird. I think it's for everyone. It's like it started somewhere and nobody knew where it was going. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if anyone even could predict the popularity of this show. Because now everyone's gonna know who you had what was it, 3 episodes you were in? 2 or 3?
I was in 1 episode.
Really?
And really? Yeah, it's in the 1 episode, and people have been, again, I'm like, to have been a part of this, and as a guest star, just a 1 episode girl, to have had such a meaty role. I mean, again, if I could do a backflip, I would. It's an actor's dream to have what I had, and it's just 1 episode. Yeah, so I think. It's a good question. I have my own thoughts about it, but I know that this producing team and the showrunner Tia, they're kind of studs. They're all have been in this for a minute, and they know what they're doing, and they're very talented people, and they have made wise choices. I think that their business hat that they're wearing, they've been very smart about it, and I think that I'm highly impressed with them. Again, grateful to be just in my 1 episode and a part of it, for sure.
Well, we have this theory in our group when we podcast that your character, Tanya, it's really hard for me to say that because everyone up here is Tanya, no matter how their name is spelled.
I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know how many, but I knew, and I think it may have helped me get the role. I wonder how many other actresses knew it's Tanya. If you live in East Texas, it is Tanya.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
I've been schooled on it by these two.
It's a Southern thing. We're the only two that can do it without a problem.
Same with Sandra. It's just Sandra. No matter how you spell that name, that's all it is. Midwesterners cannot affect the different tones there. But we have this idea that Tanya and Cindy and Joy had this relationship in high school because you all grew up in the same town, and that something happened between you two similar to what's happening between Olivia and Martin, maybe, or between Olivia and Jeanette. And so what we want to see next season is we want to see you three come back and dive into that triangular relationship that you three had and what imploded there. Because there's some, I don't know if it was written in, because I know that scripts are it's dialogue and it's positions, but when you affect an emotion or you affect any type of facial expression, that's all you. And so there is some great animosity being thrown from you to Cindy and from you to Jeanette that is spectacular. And it makes me think that there is something else that's under that surface.
I mean, again, I've done my work, and what I definitely, it's a small town. Everyone in a small town knows everybody. And it's a little incestual, I will say. I'm from Tyler, Texas. Hi, Tylerites, if there's anyone. Hey. If you're from there, it was really weird even growing up in that town. Like, everyone would go off to college, but then they would come back and marry someone from Tyler. So all the Tyler people come back and they marry someone from Tyler. It's so strange. I don't know what happens there. I think it's a little bit of a fear of like you can't get away. So yes, I definitely have thought through, I know those women, and I do think we all grew up there at a certain level at a certain time, probably for sure in high school. I would, hey girl, sign me up. I would love nothing more working alongside those two women. Yeah. And I do think there's a lot of meaty stuff going on there, and it's sad. And again, in a small town, this is what happens. And in any parent relationship, the parents' view and relationships with other people in the town, they do transcend to the children's opinions and thoughts about how they feel about each other. Yeah. And I think there was a comment, from the girls when they were stealing in the thing. They were like, oh, that's Tennille's mom, like mother, like daughter, So, I mean, everybody has their opinions, and it's sad because when you're in those small towns, you can't get away from them either. Yeah. Once everybody thinks that about you or knows something about, it's hard to break out of what they think about you. It's actually hard to grow as a person when everybody wants you to fit in this box that they feel like you should stay in, So I know there's that thing between Cindy and Joy. There was I knew her, they both have commented about their high school relationships too. So yeah, there's a lot there. I agree with you. I'm so anxious to see, and I have no idea about a season 2 at all. I mean, you know as much as me, and so who knows? And with the way that they're going to end this, it'll be interesting too. I know even when I was on set, people talked about it, but it's like that was so far long ago. Yeah. Of course, I think everybody, once you get on a set and you fall in love with people you're working with, you want to keep doing it. My goodness. So, but yeah, I do think there's a lot there. I'm anxious to see if they will move it forward and how they will move it forward.
They have to.
We're hoping.
I've had so many people say the same thing to me. My orthodontist, she was like, well, there's going to be a season 2. I'm like, I don't know anything about that. She's like, of course there is. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. You don't know.
It's so popular. I think they've got to keep going. That's what I think. But
I'm so glad that you ladies love it. I'm so glad that people love it. And, it's hard when you're attached to something because you love it. You're in it. So.
And I brought this up on our podcast before, but I had a writing teacher because I'm a writer, and I had this teacher in high school, and he had said one of the very most valuable lessons he taught was that great writing, good writing evokes sensation. And this show has certainly done that. I mean, it's a wide range of emotions that people feel while doing this. And I think that the writers of the show have done such a great job at creating meat in every single character, every single storyline. They could almost pull any one of you out for a season 2 and dive into that backstory.
Yeah, I do love Brian Antonio, and I hope I'm saying his name right because I've never met him in person, but we've talked. He was the writer of my episode. I guess they have a writer's room, and there's a specific writer for each episode. So he was so kind. He reached out to me. We went back and forth and finally met on Instagram. But yeah, I went over and gushed on and on to him just, I mean, to be able to give me something like that there's just good writing is not overwritten.
Mm-hmm.
And there are little bitty things that you hit on, just like you guys have picked on and that I said to Tennille or whatever, that they give you nuggets of like gold mines that have to be explored. And I don't know if he created Tanya or they gave him Tanya. I'm not sure how that went along. And then he built that world for me. I mean, I went on and on with him just saying, thank you. I'm not a writer. And so I wish I was, but when I get that kind of writing, it's like you're saying, it creates even within us feelings that we get to transcend to the viewer. And so, yeah, amazing writing group of people, amazing team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you're right. I hope they keep digging into those little gold nuggets that they dropped along the way. Keep pulling them out.
I think they have to.
Yeah. We're all going to be very disappointed if they don't.
Yeah.
Devastated.
Yeah.
We'll riot. Like,
right.
We have no problem.
Well, let me know when and where.
I bring this up too, but you know, that show Sanditon was canceled and the Sanditon fandom single-handedly brought that show back. So I'm just saying.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming back with a season 2 and 3 now because of the fandom and how hard we fought for it.
Yeah.
So if Cruel Summer is canceled, we're getting on.
We will lead. We'll lead the petition and the hashtags. We'll get it happening.
So interesting again because I love what they've done with the show going back and forth in the 3 years. How even the editing deserves an award because they really are playing with something that hasn't been done before. And I'm anxious to see if that would continue into a season 2. Like the creativity that they played with is just is new and fun and makes you they're just thinking outside the box. So I mean, I wonder how they would continue a season 2. I read an article where they were thinking, would it be an anthology, like it would be a whole different set of people, a whole different, and I'm like, no. I mean, people have lots of ideas, of course. But
but I think even your character, I think we've gotten invested in the characters that are on the show, including Tanya. I'm sorry, I can't say that name without giggling because it feels so foreign in my mouth. But
Tanya.
It's because the way I remember it is Tan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Even on set, like people the makeup artist and here, nobody got it right. Tanya, where's Tanya? And I'm like, it's Tanya.
I don't know who Tanya is.
Yeah.
But I think even with the smaller roles, we as the audience have become attached to them. We've become invested in them because even as you said, I mean, you were only in one episode, but the meat that you were given, the emotion you were given to play, we want to know why you turned out the way you turned out and where you came from.
Right.
We're invested in that character now.
Yeah. Because with being only in the one episode, I feel like we've talked a lot about Tanya on our podcast in several of our episodes. So even, I mean, she obviously made an impression on all of us.
Again, I mean, I don't take credit for it at all. Like we've talked about the writing and what they've given us to play with. I am the lucky girl that got to step inside of that world. But I have read several articles about Tanya recently, and I didn't know. I just started Googling like news about the show because I was curious about a second season. So I was like Googling, I'm like, what is everybody saying? And I found so many articles about Tanya, and I was blown away. So yeah, again, I'm just thrilled to even had done it, and if there is any opportunity to keep digging in with her, I mean, of course, it's a woman I have grown to like. Actually, I don't know if people would like me saying that, but I like trying to get inside of that world.
Oh yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like the cast and how much you enjoyed it. What was your favorite part about being on set with Cruel Summer, and what was that cast dynamic like?
Oh my goodness, I'm glad you said that, because if you wouldn't have, I may have not talked about it. Like I said, I mean, Blake was a highlight. The director, Kelly Cyrus, working with her was a highlight. Meeting Bill Purple was a highlight. And I was a little intimidated by, he came over and was like, I'm Bill Purple, and he's a producer on the show, and his wife, and she wasn't there. But they were also kind to me. They came over to meet me, and I'm like, oh, hi, oh my God. I'm still very much, they don't know it, but I still get starstruck. I'm like, oh, God. I'm just acting like I'm cool. But, I'm really always so flattered to be able to work with talented people. My goodness. So I will say, and, Kiara, I did not meet Olivia. Everyone I met, again, are kind of the best humans. And I feel like if you're really good at storytelling, you kind of have to be just a huge, big hearted person. And so that was the cast. Mallory was amazing. Harley Quinn, I call her by her other name. All those people were amazing. But the number one thing for me is the fact that I did get on a show. It had been over 20 years that Nicole Bilderback, she was my neighbor in Los Angeles. She lived across the street from me in Studio City, and we spent every day together when we were 19, 20 years old. And I moved back to Texas and, just kind of lost touch. And I don't even know if she knew I was still in the business. And she didn't find out I had even booked that show until the night before, and I was on the call sheet. And so we had a scene together. And I'll tell you this. So I moved to Los Angeles when I was 18, 19, and I knew no one. It was so stupid. I would never advise that to anyone ever again. But, she ended up being my neighbor thanks to a dear friend of mine. She was my roommate, Michelle Parma, who has since passed away. She was my roommate, and that was her good friend. That's why Nicole and I know each other so well and spent so much time together. So she was a huge part of my life then, and we had grown apart. And back then she had done Clueless, and Maybe Bring It On. And she worked. And I remember just looking at her thinking, oh my God, I would give anything to be where she is right now. I was just trying to wrap my head around about where I needed to train, this business is really tough. It was just, she seemed just worlds ahead. And I just didn't even know how in the world I would ever, even get to where she was. I was so impressed by her, and she was so sweet and loving and giving, and it's such an education to me. So time passes, and the fact that I had a scene with her and got to sit across from her and that courtroom scene and work with her, I cried a lot about it. It was just, I was overwhelmed with gratitude and just kind of a full circle that neither one of us could have planned that. I think that God above allowed that little special treat in both of our lives, and we tried to catch up as quickly as we could in between takes. But that was the highlight. I mean, love that woman, and life is a funny thing. And it kind of came full circle for the both of us to get to work together, for sure, for me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's also someone that we love.
Oh my God, I love her. And if you ever talk to her in real life, you need to get her on the show.
We would like to.
We would love to.
Like, she's, every other word's a joke. Every other word's something funny. Every other word's kind of crazy. And you're like, you never know where she's going with anything. I love her. Yeah. Well, I'll tell her.
Tell her.
Guys. I'm like,
Please.
Yeah.
Being a teenager in the 90s, Bring It On is one of my all-time favorite movies. So when we realized that was her, so exciting.
In episode 1. So we've been like, oh,
yeah,
it's her. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We recognized her.
Yeah. Good. Well, she's a doll and a talented woman. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did forget she was in Clueless.
Mm-hmm.
I did too until she said that.
Let's play Suck and Blow.
Yep. I remember
the moment
it
you
now.
said
It's
Clueless,
in
I
my
was
head
like,
now.
oh yeah,
It clicked.
but I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Bring It On is just, I knew as soon as I saw her in Cruel Summer, I was like, okay, I know her. Where do I know her from? And I Googled it and I was like, oh my gosh, Bring It On.
She's from Dallas, Texas. And so, I mean, she started training and working here, in high school, and then moved to LA, and really has had, she's been a working actress all this time. So, yeah.
What was it like filming on the set because you said you were there for 3 days and it was still COVID restrictions. I know we heard a little bit of Shelby, how it was for her filming during COVID. How was it for you doing that?
I did 3 projects actually in January, and it was the first time I had worked with any COVID protocol. And I will say this, every set I was on, I can't imagine the pressure. It's already pressure enough to put on to produce a TV show, a film. There's so much pressure, and then this was added. And I know even for Cruel Summer, and Shelby maybe talked about, I think they had to shut down for quite some time before I came on because people had COVID. The money that goes out the door for all that is crazy. So I can't say enough about how they did. All three of the productions, including Cruel Summer, have handled this beautifully. And as far as a cast member is concerned, we just knew what we had to go do. We did our testing, we did our thing. We were, the makeup artists are awesome of trying to, make sure the masks were covered, messing up everything they had done. I mean, it was a lot for them, but I can't say for me. I guess the only thing that was so stressful about it is having to take that daggum test, and you're just nervous every time. You're like, there's nothing I can study. There's nothing I can do. Am I going to pass my COVID test?
And you don't want to be responsible for shutting down production for that long either.
Oh my God. I mean, and I will tell you, you talk about, trying to stay as isolated as possible when you are filming. Yeah, you're so responsible for 100 or more people. So you're really trying to just stay in your little bubble and do your job. And every actor is so willing to do that. And yeah. So you are a major bubble. That's why you spend most time with that cast, because that's all you got anyway.
It's true.
Yeah. But no, I can't say enough. And could I complain about it? No, I really can't. We're so grateful that we could continue to keep working. And again, it wasn't hard on me. I think it was hard on trying to produce that, make all that happen. And then the money, of course, I'm sure that they had to spend extra to have all the testing and all of it done.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And imagine the crew that were in charge of, like you said, the makeup artists, their jobs doubled almost because they have to do all that work. And then the extra crew they have to do with the mask stuff.
Yeah, look closely. I never saw it, but a lot of actors would say that there would be like indention lines from the mask still. And there's just nothing that you could, the makeup artist is like, there's nothing we can do about that. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's a reason for a rewatch.
I've never
right
noticed.
there.
Yeah.
Rewatch just to see if you can see mask lines.
Yeah.
There was another one. Shelby was telling us about the mall scene because it's a huge mall apparently. And so you can't like book out the entire place and then fill it with your own people. And she was saying that if you look closely, you can see people with their cameras on their phones taking pictures.
Oh, I've never seen that in the place. But you're right. And I will say that mall, and I forget what area of Dallas it was in.
Louisville.
It really looked like it's a 90s mall. No one had ever touched that mall. And it was so perfect. It was so perfect. I walked in and thought, wow, I've gone back in time for sure.
It reminded me of that game Mall Madness. It looked like it set up for Mall Madness.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Which was a favorite of mine in the 90s.
Yeah.
Well, the mall was pretty perfect for the show. Yeah. But yeah, you would just block off sections in the mall, and I don't know, it was kind of fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognized them all almost immediately. I had to go Google because I live in Dallas.
Okay.
So I was like, that mall looks familiar.
What is the mall? I can't even remember.
Louisville.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the music something mall. I've only been there a couple times.
They did good thing. They didn't need to update it.
No.
At our Cruel Summer Mall.
They could have done it in a mall called Valley View too.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And that would have been, but that one's starting to get torn down just because it's
so old. Yeah.
It's so old.
So there's lots of crazy fan theories out there. What's the craziest fan theory that you've heard or read about the show?
God.
It's a lot.
There's so many. And I try to read. I love to read like the Instagram comments and posts. I don't know. A lot of them were about me. My favorite one was that I was Martin Harris's sister, or I was going to be in cahoots with Martin Harris about this whole thing, or that I was Annabelle. So a lot of them I've just read, about me. I loved the one, someone said something about Jeanette and Olivia, like down in that basement, that there was like a double mirror. And so behind there, so, I mean, those are the main ones I've read. God, I've read so many. I'm a little probably confused of like bringing them back up, but those are the ones about me that, I bet she's going to do X, Y, and Z. She's in on it. I loved when it said I was his sister. I'm like,
that's gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh my God. I think it's before the show aired, and there was just that picture of me, and they were like, "Oh, I bet that's his sister." You know, they look alike. I'm like, "Oh, we do." No, I don't know. But yeah, I
That'd be
love
real
how
awkward.
people love to try to figure it out. But we all are trying to figure it out, you know. And Annabelle is a thing that's like, why bring that up? Where is this going? You know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So those are the ones that pop out to me.
Do you know how the show ends?
No, I don't. I mean, I hesitate because I hesitate because I think I have an idea. But no.
What's
and even
the
if I did, I'd have to say no.
Yes. Well, I want to know how to ask this question, because with Shelby, I had to say, take out everything you know from those seasons or from those episodes, because you can't tell us that. But what's the craziest theory that you've had that, without spoiling anything for 10, if that's possible, that proved to not be true? The craziest one you had that proved to not be true.
That I really thought, I really was not prepared for what just happened in episode 9. I really wasn't. I really thought I was always curious how he got her in that house. But I really didn't see the love relationship at all. So that I thought that he got her in there that night when she was sitting on the curb. I just kind of thought maybe he'd get her a glass of water, and then he just locked her in the basement because he wanted her. I felt like, is he a pedophile? Does he have issues like that? I didn't know. I'm like, where's this going? We didn't know where it was going, but I never saw the love relationship coming. And I think they did a great job with that.
Yeah.
So my theory was that he was just kind of awful. I mean, I thought he was he is a predator. So, but I thought that he was a kidnapper. He would snatch her up and throw her in there first. That's just what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
So this episode 9 was awesome. Again, out of the box, creative, beautiful writing, makes us all, you don't, again, in plays, I study a lot of plays and read a lot of plays. And I think the best plays are those that when you leave that play, reading it or watching it, you leave with more questions. Doesn't give you every answer. And that is what they're doing with this. You leave asking more and more and more. And I know Brian on Tanya, who I mentioned, who wrote my episode, he's a playwright, and I think the best writers, man, they just make us they make us question ourselves. They make you question you and your thoughts and who you are and what you would do if X, Y, or Z. And again, just really good writing. So yeah, that theory, like the fact that they really had feelings for each other.
I will say it did make me question everything about myself, because I've been insisting this entire time Joy and Mallory are in on that kidnapping.
We thought
I'm
so
mad that Mallory was more innocent than I thought she was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could have gone any way.
Yes.
Who knows where it could have gone? Yeah.
There's just no telling.
No.
Some theories I've heard are just out there and so insane. I'm like, and then when they say it, I'm like, oh, that sounds crazy. And then I'm like, well,
then you start thinking about it.
Maybe.
You're like, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, crazy things really happen in real life. And like, you end up going, there's no way that would ever happen. And, crazy things happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that, again, the writing team. I mean, that Tia, my goodness, she's the showrunner, creator of the show. She's just brilliant minds, man. They pulled them together. And I really, that's why I love about the art of storytelling. Again, I don't care if it's a play I'm in, I don't care if it's a TV show or a film. It is such a collaborative medium. It takes a large village to make this happen, and good art happen. Doesn't happen with one person, and so this team of people, just like you said, the marketing of it and the popularity, they've just really done it right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just have one more question, and then I think Amanda, we polled, or we have a Facebook group as well, which is where the inspiration for these podcasts come. And our Cruel Summer Facebook group has grown faster than any of the ones we've ever done, and it's very, very active. So we kind of asked them to throw out some questions they wanted to hear you answer. So I got one more, and then we'll let Amanda.
Why does it
ask you
scare
some
me?
the ones I saw, they were really good.
I will
So
say
mine
though
is-
that after every episode, we get a huge hike in
Mhm.
people wanting to join our group and talk
Yeah.
about the
So
show.
fantastic. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Even at the end, like we're in episode 9 and we're still getting, after every
Mhm.
episode, even at the very end, we're still getting numbers higher trying to
Mhm.
join in the group and talk about it.
Yeah, I think we started the group maybe after episode, well, it was right after, but we've got, it's 900 and some. So in just the, 9 weeks that it's been going. So
Yeah.
pretty good. So we've been making these edits in our group that have said, if Cruel Summer was made in the 90s, who would you want to play this character? And so my question to you is, who would you want to play Tanya?
Oh my God.
And I can tell you who my pick was, because I made,
Oh God. I'm trying to think of like who would have been my age. Girls, I may have to like Google and go
You're fine.
think of like
Not to put you on the spot.
That's what we all did.
Oh yeah, that's what we all
like,
did.
oh God. I saw where you guys did that because I saw that somewhere then.
On
Through-
Instagram.
It was on
Yeah,
Instagram because I got very
uh,
excited when
was it
I saw that you had liked my
was going to
post.
play Olivia Holt. Was it Olivia?
Yes.
Whatever. And then who was Jeanette? I can't remember. God,
Rachel Lee Cook.
I can't remember who actresses were that would be right at that time frame. I'm trying to think of all the 90s shows that I watched and all those women. I'm like, who would it be? I mean,
Well, I'll tell you mine, and then you
Okay.
can decide if you
Good.
like it. I
Well, help.
chose, and I don't know if yours has even been posted in the group yet, but I chose Marsha Cross from Melrose Place.
you know what's funny? I was just really thinking of that show, and I love her. And
Yeah.
she was also on Desperate Housewives, which kind of
Uh-huh.
reminds me a little bit of Tanya.
Yeah.
I was, that was really in my brain, Melrose, and I was trying to think through all those people. So I totally am on board with you.
She
Okay.
feels Southern to me.
Yeah.
I know her from Desperate Housewives, and even on that, it's not a Southern show. I don't think. Is it a Southern
No.
show?
No.
No,
But she
Mhm.
always felt like a Southern woman to me. I don't know why. Just because
Mhm.
she's very upright. She's very upstate. She's very
Right.
religious and
acts like
proper.
everything. Perfect on the outside, but it's a lot
Yeah.
going. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for helping me, and I agree. With
Marsha Cross, it is. Okay.
Done.
She was when she posted that on Instagram, because whenever we have anyone from the summer, like we hardcore tag people because Jeanette live tweets the episodes.
Mhm.
So like we're tagging everyone who's in the scenes, and she will message when, oh my gosh, look who liked our post. And when you liked the Instagram post on Instagram from us, Jeanette
Oh.
posted in our group, Can
I had a
Davis liked
fangirl
our
moment.
thing?
I was excited.
I mean, I follow like hashtags of Cruel Summer, so I'll like all. I just want to follow everybody that's appreciating the show. So I've got to find all of your stuff now. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Obviously,
Okay.
oh, I like that. Yeah, that's
We would
cute.
love that.
Good. That's great. Well, we love it too. We're just so thankful for the love, of course.
All right. Do we want to jump into the questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I was looking something else up and then I got
Amanda hears our Google while we're on podcasting. She's got like 4 computers in front of her, so when we have a question, you can see her whole body turn in one direction. You know that she's typing into Google what the answer is.
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
I'm fast. I guess we've already kind of answered what is your favorite part about playing your character. That was one that Julie Powell had asked in our group, but we've already kind of covered that.
Cover what she liked about her
One
character.
thing I haven't said, I do love the fashion. I
Mhm.
like clothes.
Yes.
That was, I'm a youth group leader at our youth group at church, and
Oh.
all these kids coming in the clothes that I wore when I was in high school. I just want to be like, I was cooler before
Yeah.
you were.
That's right. But I mean, yeah, the whole Tanya cheetah skirt and the whole
Yes.
stuff I would never wear or get away with wearing, I could wear with her. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
I love the fashion
that.
and the music.
Yeah.
Mhm. Definitely.
It just brings me back to my youth.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that's why I love the show so much.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like I'm young again.
I want to walk in again.
Right.
Yes. Okay, Eve asked, is there anything you did prior to filming to help you better understand your character?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, for sure. But I was about to say no, because it resonated very quickly with this woman. And again, I'm very thankful that I really have, I think, true insight into a small town, and I already had that going for me. So as soon as I read the writing, it was very easy with my imagination to start filling in the blanks. So I didn't have to really try too hard to understand. As far as the creating the world and living in that a little bit. I mean, I have a real clear, and God, I'll be sad if I'm wrong, but probably I'm not quite exactly right. But I know, I know who the father is of my child, Tennille, and I know what happened there, and I know why I made the choices I made. So I filled all that in for myself. So that kind of worked for sure. But
so since it wasn't in the script given to you, can you share us your theory on that?
I'll give you hints because if they ever really do,
just in case.
I don't want it to be confused. But for me, I just know that I feel like my guess is through my imagination that, I might have been involved with someone that already had a family. And I was protecting a lot of people, and I don't have, I'm a sales clerk at a clothing store. I don't think it's my store. I think I work there. And I don't think I have a lot of means to take care of my child. And I wanted to have her. And I think my heart was broken. And I was also probably seeing a couple people at that time. And the one that I chose to tell that was her dad, I needed somebody. I just needed somebody at that moment. And he loved me. And so I let him think that was his child. But the man that I think I was truly in love with and wanted to be with chose not to be with me because he had a life. Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I do stuff like that. I play like that. Whether I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. If the writing were to change, of course I change whatever I need to. I mean, I X that, create a whole new thing. But it helps me to really connect more with who I am, why I am the way I am,
Oh yeah.
Because if you just took it at the surface level, it'd be really hard to empathize with that character.
No, there's a lot going on there. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I'm still in love with that man. And I think he probably is on the show.
That's been,
I'm going through like every male character on the show right now.
Well, I think other people have speculated about this as well, because I've read something where other people they're agreeing with you.
Right. It's funny. Yeah. I think our brains, like the writers give us nuggets and then everybody's brain starts to play. We play pretend, kids. We're all kids at heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
We like it. It's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one from Melanie is, what is one piece of 90s fashion you would like to bring back now?
I mean, it's all already back almost.
I know. That's why I'm like,
trying to think with you.
90s it was a little harsh. The colors were a lot. Color. I love though, I want to say the color, but I like color, and I do, but I think not quite like the 90s. It was like a splatter paint mess, but I do like the pops of color that people are afraid of now. Like I wore that hot pink. I like that. I mean, I remember in the 90s too, there was, do you guys remember parachute pants?
Yes.
Yeah, all different colored kind of parachute material. I'm not saying I want to bring it back, but I remember we all wore that. And I want to serve something like some cargo pants that are parachute look, we could kind of mesh now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would wear them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think too what made the 90s color so harsh. I mean, yes, it was everywhere, but they also mixed the bright colors with contrasting patterns.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was one shirt I had in the 90s. It was like this bright yellow triangle with black spots in it. And then another circle that was like hot pink with stripes in it. And it was one shirt. Like,
and there's Jeanette in my episode wore I think there were striped pants with a flower shirt, just like, what in the world?
Yep.
I'm like, God help us all. But we did it. We did it.
Yep.
Oh, and the big flowers. I had that skirt on with Tennille's room had big flowers and it's kind of the brown. Oh, and the other thing I don't want to bring back that I wore in a lot of my episodes was that brown lipstick. Remember that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that with the brown liner. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's
Yeah,
what I
it was
thought
I
was
get it.
a
cool.
great look on me, but whatever. You know, I would not want it to come back, but it was such a thing, man. And I
Mhm.
did it in the 90s. Of course
Oh,
we
yeah.
did. We all did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
Okay. Brooke asked, what motivated you to be Tanya? How did you get into character before you filmed?
Well, I mean, I guess I kind of answered some of
Yeah.
that, you know,
Like
growing
we've already
up
kind of.
down and um yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, once again, when I auditioned for it, again, I try not to get attached. So I would say that I'm not attached to it because it's just too hard. You hear too many no's. So I'm like, whatever. I just did what I did and really didn't see myself. I try not to even see, I never think, oh, this is my part. I never think this is mine because little do I know. I mean, the things I've been cast in, I'm always shocked. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. It's hard to see what others see in you. Right. So again, I mean, I didn't know, but as soon as I got that full script, it was like the most fun thing to dive into. So it was not hard and I just easy and went to play pretend immediately.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Brooke also asked, so you told Martin your secret so quickly. Do you think that Tanya told others around town, or do you think she only told Martin?
It's a wonderful question that I've
It
not
is.
thought about at all.
I mean, obviously we don't really know, but
No,
But you're in that character's head.
right. I will say this. I had drinks at dinner and I was having another drink at his house. And I do think I probably, you know, my mother told me this a long time ago. She's like, you know, there is no secrets between you and anybody. You know, once you've told one person, you can't count on the fact that it's really a secret anymore.
Mhm.
And so I, now that you've asked me that, just with my little brain, I'm sure there's been some girlfriends that I have been drinking with at night before, and maybe I wouldn't be surprised if I had. And I think there's probably more speculation than I as Tanya, no. I mean, I think there's a buzz and people talk. And I wouldn't be so surprised. I guess Tennille probably doesn't really know or doesn't think about it. I don't know what she thinks, but I think she's a smart girl. And I wonder at night when she puts herself to sleep that she doesn't think, I wonder, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I was quick to tell Martin, I think, because I wanted an intimacy really quickly. And I thought, if I told him those things, maybe he would share with me things. And I think, again, I was a little tipsy. I wasn't making wise choices.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
I think too that part of it could have been that she was trying to show him that you're not afraid to blur the lines.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just like, whatever. I know you're the school principal. I mean, but we don't have to talk about it.
Exactly. I can keep a really good
Yeah,
secret.
I got
don't know
secrets.
you, sir. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course. I like that too. I'm going to use that. I like that.
I love it. All right. So another kind of question is, do you have any favorite TV shows that you would love to work on?
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm an actor. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, wow. Let's see. I mean, Handmaid's Tale is like, I don't know if any of you watch it, and it's a whole different, yeah.
I had to get in the right headspace to watch it though.
I will tell you the first episode I didn't think I could watch again. There's been 2 TV shows out, Euphoria and Handmaid's Tale, that I watched the first episodes of those series, and I did not know if I would be able to continue to watch them because they were so real and so harsh and so hard to watch. I believed through, so I'm still watching them. But the acting on both of those shows, I admire. My goal as an actor is to never, I'm not halfway. I'm really trying to allow myself, my own humanity, to be deeply affected. And so when I watch Elizabeth Moss, knowing that she goes to work every day and lets her gut and heart wrench out of her body, I'm like, sign me up, please, oh God of heaven, with that woman. I mean, she's amazing. And then I will say, Zendaya in Euphoria, blown my mind. And I love the thinking out of the box on both of those shows, which I still think Cruel Summer competes with, because both of those shows are something that you just haven't seen before. And they're not your same old. And so, those two things, they just give me, I watch This Is Us too. I watch everything.
That's another group we have for.
We have a group for that.
Oh my God, that show! I swear the makeup artists deserve. They do a beautiful job. I believe it. I believe everything they're doing. And the actors, the writing is unbelievable. So those are kind of like the ones that just popped off. I'm about to start the one with Kate Winslet, the mayor of something. I forget the name of it. Those are kind of like my shows right now.
Okay. I think I read that you had done an episode of Walker too. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just did an episode of Walker. I had a very small
I love that show. So
very small part, but I got to play Gavin, and I can't say his last name, but it's Trevor Strand on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I played his aunt, and he's a doll, and really, really sweet guy, and everybody was great on that set too. And again, just so glad that it's right here and filming in Austin. So yeah.
We're big Jared fans.
We're big Jared fans because we have a Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Austin Nichols fan as well. So, so I'm not caught up on that show yet, but I haven't seen your episode, but I do like it.
And then I did a film that's coming out. I don't know when, but it should come out. I thought it would come out this summer, so maybe it'll be fall, but right after I did Cruel Summer. And I'm not even going to tell you who played my husband because he's not even attached to the project yet, but it was one of the coolest people I'd ever worked with ever. And I found out the night before I went to set that I knew he was in the film, but I did not know he would be playing my husband. So as soon as that comes out, I can't wait to kind of promote that. But Oakes Fegley is the star of that film. It's he was in The Last Dragon. He's worked with everyone from, Julianne Moore, Nicole Kidman. This kid's really, really talented. So it's really about a story about him and his journey. But so this year's been a really nice start to 2021 coming out of 2020.
I think that we all deserve that.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess so. I'm so thankful. I just couldn't, those 3 projects just happened really quickly for me. And I'm still a little just trying to realize that happened at all.
I think people forget because TV shows were coming out, movies were coming out, but people forget that for most of 2020, actors and actresses and production crews could not work for a large part of 2020.
Yeah. No, and I really never thought there are moments, every actor feels that way after every job. We were like, that could be it. May never work again. You don't know. We're not in control of that unless we're creating our own content, which we have to do. But, on a national level or, we don't know. And no, my husband worked in January of 2020 on The Resident, and then neither one of us.
That's another group that we have.
We have a group for that too.
Well, he just did like a co-star role. Like he did a very small role. It was the top of I forget even which episode. Yeah, but so he popped over to Atlanta and worked on that show, and then 2020 that everything hit.
We'll have to have your husband on here now too.
Yeah, he needs to join us.
Yeah, he's a cutie.
I was scoping out your Instagram. He's a good-looking guy.
He is a good-looking guy. I think he is a good-looking guy. Yeah, I love being married to an actor. I can't believe I'm married to an actor, really, but I love it because auditioning is really easy, and we get it, and we work together, and I love it. He's talented too, so it really helps me. He can help me. Yeah,
that's good.
I run a podcast for Sanditon. It's called the Sanditon Chronicles, but I just did an interview with someone, and we were talking about Theo James and his wife were in that together. And he had said, someone said, well, how can you do that? Because in the end, they're kind of like at odds. They're fighting each other. And he said, at the end of the day, we're both actors, and we understand that what we're doing is acting. So we don't have to take that home. And he was talking about the ease of being married to another actor because they understand the craft. They understand what you have to do to get into a role. And they understand that when you leave the role, then you're leaving the role.
Right. We met on a film, and then we were in a play together called Mary Page, but we didn't have scenes together. But then we did Waverly Gallery. And we were husband and wife in that play. And that was grueling and exhausting play. But we like to get to work together is like a dream. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
My parents say that about themselves too. They don't act. They work at a grocery store together, but they go together every day.
Get to work together. Yeah. They love each other. Yeah.
So with our Cruel Summer cast, we like to do this fun little thing where we're going to give you some theories, and then we're going to stare at your facial reactions while we give them to see if we can gauge if we're on the right track or not.
Okay.
And then Shelby was very good at this game.
Oh God.
She had the exact same. We told her if she blinked once, that meant yes, and twice for no. So I'm pretty sure she just didn't blink the entire time.
Yeah. Okay. God. All right.
You ready?
My green little thing, and I'll just be, just try to be as honest as I can. I'm just giving facial expressions instead.
Yeah, you can also verbally agree with us. That'll help us out. If you can say, yes, you're right.
Everybody knows I really know nothing. I know nothing. So it's gonna be all
That helps. That helps you out then.
Okay.
Now, up until episode 9, I was certain that Mallory was akin to the devil. I did not like her. There was something off in that girl's character. And then I had to apologize to Harley Quinn while we were doing our podcast last night because she's not as horrible as I thought she was. So now I have no confidence in my theories anymore. But I think that one of our people in our group, I don't remember the name, but they had brought up the theory of Annabelle being a boat, and that Martin was that's why it was in cursive when Olivia Holt was writing Annabelle, and that he was going to take her off and whisk her away, but then he was killed by someone else. And kind of digging that theory. I don't know how accurate it is, but I like that idea of him trying to take her away, and she says no, and someone kills him. But
it's a good one. That's a new one.
And I'm just supposed to agree or not agree?
You can do whatever you want to do with that.
I think it's an interesting. Yes. It's interesting, and I don't think that's going to happen.
No. No. Because when we see the preview and he says this is Annabelle, he doesn't look particularly excited. He looks a little upset and scared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning more towards the gun theory, although I'm not sure I like that. I hope they do something more creative with that, and I think they've done a really good job being creative and throwing us completely off course when we think something. Mm-hmm. So I think gun, but I also think I'm going to be wrong on that for Annabelle.
I thought it was the gun theory. Oh, the first time I read the gun theory, I was like, this is insane. Like, I didn't believe it at all. But the more and more people keep talking about the gun theory, it's like everybody's convincing me that it's right.
And tell me exactly what their gun theory is.
They think that Martin's gun is named Annabelle, or maybe he has an Annabelle gun because there is a gun that is called Annabelle. Mm-hmm. He also has skeet shooting trophies up in his house, which is a big gun, kind of like the Annabelle gun is. Mm-hmm. So everybody is kind of thinking that Annabelle is his gun, and that's probably the same gun that his dad even killed himself with.
Mm-hmm. That's my theory. I mean, that's the one that I go with because I still have issues with the gunshot that we hear on Jeanette's birthday when she's with Jamie.
At like 1 a.m.
late at night. Yeah. And I think this is my theory, and I'm going to stand behind it until I'm proved wrong, that Annabelle is the gun. And Martin had planned some sort of murder-suicide with him and Kate because he has no other way of getting out of this. And in the struggle, Kate ends up killing him instead. But then Joy and Rod are covering it up with their connections to protect her, which is why she doesn't remember. I have no idea, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, it's funny. You guys, it's so good. Everybody.
We've obsessed over it for weeks.
It's crazy. And I love it. I like it because it makes everybody's imaginations work, which we stopped using at the age of 12 is what I think. And so that's why all of a sudden your brain just starts to want to create. I kind of thought Annabelle was, for the first time I heard it, I just felt like, because I'm such a woman empowerment kind of girl. I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like through all that, she found an alter ego within herself that was something her mama didn't raise, that could take care of her own self and think for herself and make some choices that she can't believe she made that maybe got her out of it. But, that was the first thing that came to my mind. But you girls kind of sounds sounds good. What you're thinking. We'll have to watch and see.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
The
Tango one
personality
was
thing
big.
was pretty high on our list too, and I think for me it was up there. I was thinking it could be that after I found out it wasn't Mallory, until Martin came in and said this is Annabelle and introduced Kate to Annabelle.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm unsure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the show to have me think a certain thing for 9 stupid
Right.
episodes. And the very last one, I'm like, I got nothing. I have no
I
idea.
think
What's
I
happening.
read, I think there was another theory I read with the Annabelle that was like he had planned kind of on the same lines of them to run away together. And Annabelle, like he's bringing her something like this is her passport. Her new identity is going to be Annabelle when they leave together. And I
Oh.
thought that was interesting too.
I haven't heard that one yet.
No.
Because that would
Like
be why
that.
he would say this is Annabelle. Like maybe he's handing her, new I don't know. That's an interesting one.
Yeah. The baby theory got thrown out.
We liked that for a while. Yeah.
Baby theory, but that one was tossed out from the timeline as from episode 9.
Yes.
We know that's not going to be possible.
Right.
And I do think, and I've said this from the beginning, that Jeanette is completely innocent of everything she's being accused of, except for going into Martin's house regularly, which is stupid. But I get why she had to lie about that, because if she told the truth about that, then people are gonna be like, oh, so you did see Kate then.
I'm anxious though to see, because just like you said, we get really thrown off. They
True.
good at confusing us. And I think at this point, that's what a lot of people feel like, oh, poor girl,
Mhm.
I'm anxious to see where that goes too, because I don't know. I really don't. I know that it's very odd that I found her in that closet. So she's definitely in that
That's
house.
true.
And that was shocking.
That was great.
Yeah, that I don't know. I jury's out there, and I'm anxious to see what they tell us next week.
What do you think is going to happen in the next episode? And again, audience, she does not know what's happening in episode 10, so she's not like throwing anybody under the bus.
I don't know. I mean, I hope that, there's that new thing out where Olivia's standing there. Kate.
Yes.
He says, I'm 100% certain, and I'm anxious to, what a great teaser, because I still feel like I don't feel like Kate's lying about her seeing her. I can't believe, I don't know. I will be shocked if we're just like, oh, I think she did see her. I think that there's more to it. The whole show's been wrapped around it.
Mhm.
I think though, just like anything in life, there's more to that moment when they did see each other. I don't know, but I just think there's more to that moment that we are so naive to right now.
Mhm.
I think that I hope that they fill that in for us. I mean, I just can't imagine that Kate would be like, she saw me. She literally has said that. She saw me.
Yeah.
And then she went and she took my life, which she did.
I'm anxious to
And-
figure out how that happened too.
She did. Well, I get that though. I mean, the girl wanted everything she had. I mean, everyone wanted to be Kate at that school,
Mhm.
everyone wanted Kate's world, and she was missing. And so she just filled the void and played a part. Jeanette played a part, and she's paid a price, for it.
I do have a theory on why Kate, because I think that Kate did see Jeanette. It's obviously she saw the necklace. I think that she might have seen her biking away. I don't think Jeanette saw her, but my theory is that we saw in episode 9, the very first time Kate was ever shoved in a closet by Martin, it's Greg Turner who comes in. So there's one Turner who's in there when she starts to feel disenfranchised with this life that her and Martin had. And then the second time is on Christmas Eve when she's decided, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this. And there's only 2 single times she sees someone other than Martin Harrison. Each time it's a Turner. And so Jeanette comes in the second time when she's ready to be done with this life. So, and Kate actually runs by the door when Jeanette's coming in as the door is opening.
Right.
So they were like milliseconds away from seeing each other. She was milliseconds away from being rescued from this life on her own, because I don't think she could leave on her own at that point. Mentally, I don't think she could. So I think that finding out it was Jeanette after she left, it's almost like the Turners are a trigger for her. Of if you had just looked one other direction, I wouldn't have had to go through all of this. I could have been free. I would have never been kidnapped.
Like a scapegoat is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, I think there's that one time too that Joy mentions to her mother, Cindy, who said it? Was it Cindy? She wanted to be me. No, it was Joy that said it.
Joy.
She wanted to be me. And I know that resonates within that child that, and then Jeanette did take over her life. I just still, though, I don't feel like it's Kate that would, just knowing the little I know about Kate, I still feel like she caught eyes. I don't know. I think they caught eyes. I could be so wrong, but I want to believe that Kate isn't just so angry. I don't know. I think Jeanette maybe did freeze and say, how am I supposed to say that I saw her? I was in the house when I shouldn't have been. I don't know. I'm so anxious to know where this goes. I think they've already been so creative. I don't think they're going to disappoint my expectations. This last one, I really had no idea. And even like Nicole, all those cute pictures of all of the cast watching together. You guys see that? Nicole posted some. I think they all sat together. They knew it was a big episode. And I mean, like Nicole said, she was like, I had expectations and then exceeded them. And she, she's a part of the show. And we all kind of have an idea, but they really did surpass even what they were thinking that would be like. And so I hope the finale is just the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Blake Lee said that we are going to be surprised at what happens to every single character.
Right.
He said every character is going to have something that you don't expect.
Right. So yay.
I can't
yay
wait
for that writing. Yay for all of it. Yay for entertainment,
And we can say everything for certain, even the things that we've already seen, we can say, no, that happened, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's true.
Right.
Because we only get glimpses.
Just like I said, it's the context, it's even like the way people would want to judge me as Tanya looking from the outside in. But once you get inside of that world with them and you get to live that moment, I hope we get to, what was really going on. And I love moments like that because it makes us all think about, oh, what would we really do? And we had this opinion about it. And hopefully it makes us think,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think those are the only theories left to have
for
this episode, because I think everything else has been either dealt with or we're so mentally confused that we can't come up with a theory for the other things. I need to know what the green ring was for. I need to know more about that snow globe. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know. They just leave so much hanging. And I do pray and hope they do a season 2. I really do. I'm sure there's so many things that go in and out of making those decisions, but I think like you said, there's a lot to still left to uncover and to experience and to learn from.
Yeah.
Again, last episode, I can't say enough about. I think it's really good they did what they did, and it was educational.
Yeah.
And I hope all young men and women out there that are of a high school age and middle school age, I think it's really good for them to watch.
Yeah.
And see what a slippery slope, and it's just it's not okay, and you can't see it sometimes when it's happening to you.
Yeah. Jeanette and I have
Definitely.
talked about how we both had a teacher that we had a crush on in high school, and
I did.
and the outrageous flirting that we've done that I did with this teacher, and that he allowed us to do with him was just
like one too. I mean, he was the coach, and he was so cute. I mean, God, John Taylor, where you were so cute. Also, my health teacher. God, it was horrible. Anyway, he was so handsome. But did he ever come on to me? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Problem. I mean, we can think they're cute all day long, but I mean, they're the adults, and
exactly.
Okay, come on, really,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Crushes are fine, but not real. It's not real.
Yep.
And even what Martin Harris and Olivia created, they wanted it to be real. It's not real.
Yep. Exactly.
It's not real. It's not healthy. It's
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last thing we always ask every one of our guests on this podcast, and I know you kind of went over this a little bit, but I'd like to have it all neatly tied up at the end here, is projects that you have coming out that we can go and support you in and go watch and help be a part of.
Oh, well, just the one that is still hanging out there somewhere is called Adam the First. And it's written and directed by Irving Franco. Lots of cool producers attached to it, lots of talented people. So I'm really excited to see where that heads and what's going to come of that film. And like I said, I know who my husband is, but I'm sure not going to be the one to drop that ball. He's not even on IMDb. That's why I just thought, oh, that's weird. But there's really some heavyweights a lot more than me in this film, and I think it's a sweet film. It's again about this kid's journey, and I play his mom at the top of the film. So yeah, I mean, other than that, that's what I have coming out, and I'm just working my ass off for more.
All right.
Well, we think that you are phenomenal at what you do. And you can tell that you put some thought into your characters because of the way that you put them out, and the way that you really, the emotions that you give your character really come through on screen. So we think you're great at what you do, and we are excited to see more from you for sure.
You are so sweet to have me on, and I love that you ladies are doing this together. And it just, us on the other side, thank you for having me and for loving the show and for rallying the troops to get together. And like, it's always nice to talk to other people that love the same thing. So you create that for other people. So thank you, girls. I hope one day I get to chat with you again.
Yes,
absolutely.
About season 2, when we dive into your relationship when you were younger.
We hope
Let's
so.
do that.
Okay. You call the right people.
Yeah,
we'll do.
We have those connections. We'll take care of it.
All right. Well, thank you, girls, so much. I appreciate it.
So,
thank you.
Also, we just found out that your husband was in season 3, episode 18 of The Resident. So we're going to be reaching out to your husband. Our Google expert figured that out.
But you should. He has a long resume. He's a dog. He was in Sweet Valley High. We just watched it the other night.
That's like one of my favorite shows.
At the end. But yeah, he was like in one episode of Sweet Valley High. Oh my God, girls. He's been doing this a long time. So
yeah. I don't think I've ever seen the show, but those books were my jam.
I remember the show. I loved it so much.
Google that. You'll get a kick out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for coming on. I'm going to close this out real quick here before we let you go. And again, Kim Davis, she plays Tanya on Cruel Summer. And we are so thankful that you have come on the show to talk with us. If you want to hear more from us, if you want to know more about Kim, feel free to reach out to us at familyfanclub@gmail.com, or we are on social media. We have our Cruel Summer group that is Cruel Summer Turner Family Fan Club. Join us on there. Join the conversation. Watch Cruel Summer finale episode coming out tonight at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Freeform. Tune in, and we want to hear how your reactions are to that. If you're shocked, if you're floored, if you got it right, like I used to have hope I would be, let us know. We want to hear all of that from you. So we will see you in a week. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.